Hi, today I'm sharing my top 5 high-end products. So I recently did a video on my top 5 picks from the drugstore, so I thought this would be a nice complement to that video. I have 5 categories, the first being foundation, so let's start with that. So my top pick for foundation is the Hourglass Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation. And this is my favorite foundation just because it's great at mattifying the skin throughout the day. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I have super oily skin, so I look for a mattifying formula in a foundation. So this is my top pick for that. The only negative about this foundation line, I think, is that there's not enough shades in terms of covering the entire skin tone range that we have. So other than that, I think if you find a shade in this, it's great for oily skin. Another thing I noticed with this foundation is that it does tend to oxidize on your skin. So let it sit on your skin for a few minutes before you purchase shade, just because this does tend to change color and go a bit deeper. I have 2 other mentions for the category of foundation. The first one being the Giorgio Armani Luminous Foundation. And this is just great in terms of leaving the skin look like skin. So it leaves behind a nice subtle glow to the skin, which I really enjoy. The second foundation that I enjoy is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra 24-Hour Foundation, which is probably closer to my skin tone than the Luminous Foundation. This one's slightly darker, but I absolutely love this. Again, this gives a very natural skin-like finish to the skin. What's great also is that it has SPF 15, so it's great as an everyday foundation. Also, this is transfer resistant or transfer free, which is great because it doesn't come off on your clothing. So these are my 2 other picks for high-end foundations. In the Hourglass foundation, I'm in the shade Beige. In the Giorgio Armani foundation, I'm in the shade 7.5. And in the Lancome foundation, I'm in the shade 410 Bisque Warm. Next are concealers. If you know me, I am a concealer junkie, so I collect concealers and try them out and test them out. But considering all the stuff that I have, I think hands down the best concealer I've used in terms of full coverage and also the versatility of the product are these Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. I always mess this up and I call it Essential Skin Enhancer, but it's Sensual Skin Enhancer. And these are just brilliant. So these are basically, if I open this up, they are just opaque paste of concealer. So if you take a small amount and mix it with your moisturizer, it can double up as a tinted moisturizer. Or if you take more of the concealer and mix it with your moisturizer, you can also use it as a foundation. So it's great because you have one shade of both the foundation and the concealer, so there's no doubt that it's going to match you. So I use the shades SX08 and 11. So if you're close to an NC 30 or 35, I would use predominantly just the SX8. Or if you're closer to NC 40, I would say, or 42, you can go in with SX11. And these are what they look like. So this one's SX8 and this guy is SX11. Next are eyeshadows. And my favorite is the LORAC Pro palette. And I love this for various reasons. I love the fact that you have 2 rows, the first one being all matte shades and the bottom one being more satin or shimmery, more satin I would say, shades. And then in this one palette you have shades ranging all the way from these paler transition shades to this mauve shade to these deeper rich browns, and then you also have a matte black shade in here. Then amongst colors you go from the champagne shades to gold to this beautiful almost similar to satin taupe from MAC, and then this beautiful garnet shade, and also you get some purple and silver gray tones. So I think this palette, apart from your greens or your blues, which I don't personally wear on a daily basis, I just love this, that you have all these shades that you can wear and have different combinations to create different looks. Another reason this palette is special for me is that I use this palette on my wedding day, so it's always going to have a special place in my heart. Another palette I thought I should mention, which is worth the money I feel, is the Viseart palette. I have it here in the shade 01 Neutral Matte. And again, as you can see, I gravitate towards these neutral palettes where I can get use on a daily basis. So again, you have these beautiful paler transition shades or lid shades. Then you have here, you have these transition shades. You also have this bright brick red shade. You have your richer browns, a beautiful matte black. You have gray and these mauve tones. So I think it's a great palette, just on its own or also as a good supplement for any other palette that you may have. These eyeshadows are a dream to work with. They're just so pigmented and you don't get much fallout from these eyeshadows. And the best part about these eyeshadows is that they are super easy to blend. They're just so beautifully transition or mix with each other that you just have an effortless smoky eye or a neutral eye makeup look. So that's the reason I feel that these eyeshadows are really worth the $80 that you spend on these. And I try and get them during the Sephora VIP sales, so you get 20% off. Then you get it for, I think, around $60 if I'm not wrong, which I think is a great value for money. Next are lipsticks. I love lipsticks, so this was quite tough, but in the end when I picked out the shades that I love, I found that all three actually have similar tones or similar family of colors. The first one I think that I absolutely love is Butter London, and it's the shade Ruby Murray. It's their Moisture Matte Lipstick collection. So this is the packaging, and then this is the shade. If you want to see this lipstick in action, you can head over to my Priyanka Chopra inspired makeup, and I've worn this lipstick in that makeup look. So I absolutely love that. This is a moisturizing matte formula. I have another lipstick that I've picked which is more on the drying side, but this one doesn't dry out my lips at all, and I have quite sensitive and dry lips. So this is great. I love the color, I love the formula, and when it does wear off, it leaves behind a stain. So I like that you still have some color at the end of the day. My second pick is something, probably the only lipstick in my collection that I have repurchased 4 or 5 times. So I go through these quite often, and this is the Tarte Lipsurgence Natural Matte Lip Tint, and I love the shade Envy in it. This is what it looks like. The shade again is this mauve neutral tone. Again, it's just a very nice moisturizing formula, and that's what I have on right now, and it's just brilliant for an everyday effortless look. My third and final pick for lipstick is the Kat Von D Studded Kiss lipstick in the shade Lolita. So this is the packaging. Beautiful studded case. And this is the lipstick. Again, very similar to the previous 2 shades I showed you. So it seems like I like these earthy mauve tones for an everyday wear. So those are my picks for lipsticks. The last and final category are eyeliners. And my favorite eyeliner has to be the Marc Jacobs Gel eyeliner. So usually when I put on black eyeliners in my waterline, they do tend to kind of run and collect in the outer corner. Then they tend to come out onto the bottom lid, if that makes sense. So they kind of smudge out. Whereas this one, I feel this is the only one where I have the least smudging and then collection in the end. And and even at the end of the day I still have some eyeliner left on the waterline. So this is the eyeliner I have on today in black, and I also have all these tiny samples for all these shades. But I thought I featured them. They were like they came out during the holiday season. They're about $25 or $30 for trying out, I think, 8 shades. I love these for their pigmentation, the range of colors that they have, and also for how long they stay on your eyes. One thing to note is that they are a bit difficult to take off at the end of the day. So I always take a Q-tip, dip it in a kind of micellar water. I use the Bioderma and then run it on your waterline to ensure that everything really comes off. Today's look, I have the Giorgio Armani foundation, Luminous Silk Foundation. My brows, I have the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown. And I also have their brow gel brushed through my brows. And then for my eyes, I have no eyeshadow on. And I have the Marc Jacobs gel eyeliner in black. For concealer, I think under my eyes today I have the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Ginger. And for concealer around my face, I have the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer, mixing SX8 and 11. And then on my lips, I have the Tarte Lipsurgence Lip Pencil in Envy. So I hope you like this video. Do give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this kind of videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. Top 5 high-end Cooper